about the VAT tax and why we need to fix it. Just teasing Target. Anybody has questions, comments? Praise for Deborah Price.
Mr. Brooks, thank you very much. It's very hard to sit here and having watched you on TV and so on, and just listen to your words. And Jim Councilman came in and said he's a rock star. So, having said that, let me ask the question. There was an article yesterday that said that literally hundreds of local and state government agencies are being looked at, disbanded, merged, because of the fact that they have to. We have requirements for budget control in states, and at the same time we've got this out-of-control situation up here in the federal government. How do we get the innovation of states and localities transferred to the federal government?
Well, I guess I would say that's tough. I do think decentralizing is the way to go. You know, one of the things I highly recommend is that people follow what the British Conservative Party has done. I think they, you know, I covered British politics when Thatcher was there, and then when John Major was there, and they suffered a series of crushing defeats. And it took them a while to figure out how to present themselves. And they're not only always there, but the core argument that they made, that David Cameron and George Osborne, the Chancellor, made, was that Margaret Thatcher was right for her time. When, in an age when socialism was on the march, we needed that. But we've got a different set of problems now, and our core problem is the fracturing of society, is lack of social trust, which we have in this country, and a disillusionment with the center. And therefore, we need to do a couple things. One of the things we need to do is say, we are for society, but we're not for the state. We're for strengthening the bonds of society. Because what Britain had was they essentially lost social trust, as we have here, lost a lot of the family networks that I was describing, and as a result saw a sharp increase in crime. And to counteract that, the central state came in with sort of extreme measures. So in Britain, there are cameras everywhere. So you had the weakening of society and the strengthening of the state. And they said, we've got to strengthen society and weaken the central state. And so they've put great emphasis since being elected on devolution of power. And so we now have a perverse situation because the federal government can borrow forever until the bond markets decide not to. They can. And the states can't. That we're weakening the levels of government closest to the people and strengthening the ones farthest. Obviously, I don't think we should get rid of we should allow states to borrow. And I don't think we should continue to allow the federal government to subsidize the states. But devolving power to state and local level seems to be the solution to that. Now, as for the specific state budgets, I'm sure some of you followed Governor Christie in New Jersey, and I think he's on the leading edge of what needs to be done. He's taking some pretty bold measures, taking some hits, and so far with quite surprising success. And as I look around other states, you look, there are like 10 states that are in a complete panic. Illinois, I know the pension system, New York, the pension system, obviously California. That's one layer of the debt that's exploding, and I think you can do that without cutting state government effectiveness if the central government will devolve powers. But devolution seems to be the evolution, the essence of what the Republicans should be talking about.
You did a great piece in the book on the exurbs. And could you comment on where the political demographics are with that group, especially given that a lot of the exurbs have massive foreclosure rates and that sort of thing in this economy?
Yeah, well, I've done this book on places like Douglas County, Colorado, Loudoun County, out here, Mesa, Arizona, which has more people living in it than live in Cincinnati and Atlanta. And unfortunately, I didn't choose Target as my site. I chose Home Depot as one of the places I wrote about. I wrote about if you want to really get the sense of America, you got to watch an American man buy a barbecue grill in a Home Depot. That's when he's most emotionally exposed.
I remember sharing that one article that you did leading up to it with my husband. I was like, remember your grill experience, yeah.
Buying the 942-inch grill in case he gets the urge to roast a bison. So the essential message of that politically is that population density correlates reasonably well with voting patterns. People in the dense, close-in suburbs tend to vote Democratic. The more further out you go, the more Republican, and that's true in just city after city. But why do people move to those suburbs, to the Loudoun counties, to where there are the big box malls? They move there because they want an orderly place to raise their kids. They want order and security. And they're tremendously, I call these places Mayberries with blackberries. Because the demographics of these suburbs are 1950s demographics. There's very low divorce rates. There's very high income equality. If you look at the Republican areas, you've got high income inequality. The Democratic areas like Manhattan, you get extremes. But they want an orderly place to raise their kids. And Bill Clinton captured this pretty well, I thought, when he was president. People have a sense, I can control my own family. I'm successful at leading my own life, but there are things coming at me that I can't control, and I need a little help with that. And so he would do little things like the V-chip. Remember, and that was telling those parents, I'm on your side in providing a secure, orderly place. My favorite Bill Clinton micro initiative was no handguns for deadbeat dads. A perfect double carom. But my view is they still want order and security. They will vote for whatever party seems most orderly. And for a while it was the Republicans, because they were managers. After Iraq and Katrina, it seemed like Obama. He seemed like an orderly guy. But order and security is still there. And now, because of what's happened, they've pulled back. And there's great emphasis on the Tea Party, but the movement in this country is not in the Tea Party. It's in the center. It's from independents who were supporting Obama, now sharply opposed. It's the movement, and this, to me, is interesting, the movement on issue after issue. So if you ask people, do you think global warming is real? The numbers say no, is up. Do you support gun control? The numbers say no, is up. On taxes, role of government, every single issue, there's been a move from independents to the right. Even on issues Barack Obama hasn't touched, they're just moving to the right. And so, I'm afraid that's me. No. They're moving to the right, but that fundamental emphasis on order still has not changed. And that is why, I give a lot of talks, and that is why the fiscal issue is paramount in their minds. And the way I explain the fiscal issue, just very briefly, is we had a change in culture in this country. If you look at consumption patterns through the course of the 20th century, we had consumption about 60% of GDP. Starting in the late 70s, it shoots up to 70%. Personal debt for 80 years is 45% of GDP. It shoots up to 150% of GDP. We just had a change in culture. And acceptance of debt, we've now transferred from private debt to public debt. But they feel that that is a moral issue, because that's what's undermining their order and security. And so they seem like Tea Party types now, but because of the foreclosures, but they're essentially bourgeois, order-oriented people, and they always will.
Joanne Emerson, Missouri. Me, your thoughts, or us your thoughts, if you would, on where you think healthcare will be 10 years from now.
I'm more, they mentioned epistemological modesty at the top, and I understood where the president was coming from. I like the president a lot personally. I like a lot of people around him. But one thing that he does not suffer from is an excess of modesty. I always say that in 80 years, the word Obama will be the unit of measure for self-confidence. Say, oh, he has 80 Obamas, oh, he has 20 Obamas. And part of that self-confidence is good, but the part that's bad is the belief that if they get a bunch of smart people in a room, they can solve problems. And so there's a tendency, and healthcare is an example with the Medicare Advisory Board, to concentrate a lot of power on a bunch of smart people, and then they'll create the rules. And they sincerely have faith that they will be able to pull down costs as a result of that. And I sincerely have faith that they're crazy.